Hey, what's up guys? So I finally started my YouTube video. Pretty much what I'm doing here now, I'm making some tropical fruit pancakes. I'm making my loaded eggs. I actually posted a picture of it on Facebook. I'm gonna I'll be doing my little recipes from now on, and I'm also making turkey sausage links or patties. Now you don't have to use turkey sausage. You can use whatever you want to use, bacon, beef, pork, whatever floats your boat. But I'm trying to stay away from pork myself. So right here I got some sauteed onions. Onions rolling right here. Basically what I did was I put butter in a pan. I'm gonna turn the heat down on that. I put butter in a pan. Got the onions a nice brown color. I have 2 eggs, which are seasoned with my seasonings here. That's seasoning salt, black pepper, and my sea salt rub. Basically, all it is just Italian seasoning, sea salt, and garlic. You can buy it separately, or you can get the actual bottle of rub. Now, these are my loaded eggs. I usually put salmon in them, but today I'm not going to do that. Basically, all I put is my sauteed onions, like you saw. And I'm going to put my fresh tomatoes in with that. And some spinach and some cheese. And that's going to be my eggs for today. I put the same thing in them yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't think to film it. I took pictures of it, so if anybody wants to see the pictures, you can see my curry salmon omelet. So now I'm going to get my spinach. I'm going to cut off the ends of the spinach, the stems. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my cheese in. I got my pancake mix here, as y'all can see. This is a real simple recipe. Now, it's a tropical fruit pancake. What I basically do is I get a fruit cup, the Dole fruit cups, tropical fruit, because Dole fruit, their cups are made with actual fruit. Now, you can get tropical fruit, but I mean, it's a longer process, so I just, pretty much get what I can get. Now, I got my spinach here. What I'm going to do with my spinach is I'm going to kind of like break it apart a little bit. I use fresh spinach all the time when I do my eggs and things like that. I don't use canned spinach. I really don't even use frozen spinach. I always use fresh spinach. It does not have to be organic, but if you're going to get organic, just please remember, organic food spoils a lot faster than, the other kind. So if you're going to get it, you need to know that you're going to cook it within, I would say, 2 weeks, because it'll start getting bad. That's with any organic food that you buy. Organic vegetables, organic meat. If you can afford it, because some people I know, it's expensive. This here is not organic. Just because I know that I'm not going to cook it as much, but I'm going to cook it enough to where it's going to get eaten up. Now, with the ends of the spinach, now you can keep the ends on, but I prefer not to. Just because I don't, like the stems and eating the stems, especially when I'm making eggs or something like that, that have to have the spinach in it. I try to cut the ends off, or pull the ends off. And with fresh spinach, the flavor of and the texture of it is a lot different from the spinach that you get in the can, because the canned spinach can be slimy, and a lot of people don't like, slimy stuff. So now that I've got that broken apart, I'm just going to take it over here and add it with my eggs. So as you can see, my eggs are cooking. I turned the heat down because I don't want my eggs to cook fast. I want everything to kind of mold in together. Now, I don't know if you all can hear it, but when you put the spinach in there, especially if it's fresh and you just washed it and all that kind of stuff, then the water, like you'll hear it cracking. That's how you know if it's cooking. Now I want the spinach to wilt down just a little bit. That's another reason why I'm cooking it slow. Once it does that, then I'm gonna kind of like, you know, scramble it up a little bit, and maybe good to go. Here I have a pot of some oatmeal, fresh oatmeal. Yes, I know it seems like I'm eating, you know, I got a lot I'm eating, but I'm not really. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my turkey patties. I'm gonna cook my pancakes last because my pancakes have more to, you know, that I have to deal with, like as far as the fruit and stuff is concerned. So it's gonna take a little bit longer for it to cook than normal. Normally pancakes, you know, once you see the bubbles in the top of the pancakes, for those of you who don't know, for my viewers that you know, don't cook, when you see the bubbles at the top of the pancake, then that usually means that it's time for you to flip it over, and you'll see bubbles over the whole top part of the pancake. And then once you flip it, you only have to cook it for about 2 minutes, and then it should be done. To make them really golden brown, I use butter in my pan. I put butter in there after every second pancake, just depending upon how many cakes you're making. If you only make it 2, normally a spoonful of butter, a regular spoonful of butter, should suffice. I always use this type of pan. I don't use this one unless I know I'm going to make like one pancake, one or 2 small ones. For those of you who only have like the big pans, then you can do that too. Sorry about the camera motion and all that, but this is my first actual show. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm glad. So now that my eggs are starting to cook down a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and scramble them. And this is, like I said, this is a very basic recipe. You don't have to have a degree in culinary, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and all that fancy stuff to know how to do this. This is really simple. It's really fast. It's quick and it's simple, and you know, this meal usually only takes maybe 20 minutes to do all together if you do it the right way. So now here I have shredded cheese. I'm going to add my cheese to the pan. I usually just do like 4 fingers full and just sprinkle it over the top. Four fingers should cover the surface of the eggs. I'll show you here. So that way it'll go ahead and melt like it's supposed to without me doing any extra, you know, fidgeting or anything with it. So I'm going to go ahead and let that melt. I'm going to turn this down to low so that way the eggs don't get cold while I'm cooking everything else. I got the turkey sausage here going. That's only going to take about 2 more minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the pancakes and we'll be ready to eat. Disclaimer, please, if you are not used to cooking, you can cook it at a low heat. That's fine. Just as long as, you know, you're making sure that you are not setting nothing on fire. If you're cooking with an electric stove, I would say start with a lower heat because electric stoves tend to cook food faster than a gas stove does. If you're not used to cooking on a gas stove, or if you're not used to cooking on an electric stove, or you're used to cooking on a gas stove, you have to kind of bring that temperature down a lot further down than what you would, you know, with a gas stove. Because gas stoves kind of even out the cooking time, and you know, before we had electric stoves, we had gas stoves. So, and if you're under the age of 18 and you're watching this, please make sure you have your parents' permission before you mess up any of your parents' dishes. You go in there and cook any food, you know, make sure that you are either with them or you have that permission. I'm not responsible for any accidents or damages or anything like that that's going on. This is for mature viewing. So if you are under the age of 18, the mature thing to do is to make sure you have your parents' permission. Don't go in your mom's kitchen cooking saying, oh, well, Chef the dancer said, well, I can do this and I can do that. It's real easy. So it's no. He didn't say that. He said, make sure you have your parents' permission. So now these patties are ready and they cooked very nicely. You'll see them in just a moment. Now, I usually clean up my dishes while I'm cooking because you don't want to walk around with dirty dishes or have dirty dishes left. And I mean, it's a lot more, you know, you can enjoy your food without having to worry about going back in there and cleaning your food. So what I'm about to do now is I'm about to get some more butter and I'm going to go ahead and cook the pancakes on this skillet here. This skillet is on medium, and then I have my oatmeal here. Now, normally I would use a stick of butter. If you're going to use a stick of butter, they have like on the side of the butter of the stick, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So, if you want to use measurements, I would say use about 2 tablespoons of butter when you're doing your pancakes. When you're doing it with the butter that's already like this, I just get 1 heaping spoon like this, regular spoon of butter. That's a heaping spoon, guys. Put it in the pan, kind of work it around the pan with the spoon until it's all melted down. Now, as you can hear, I have my fan on because when you put the butter on hot pan, it makes a lot of smoke, as y'all see. So I got the pan pretty nicely coated. Okay, now don't do this unless you're comfortable with handling the pan. Okay. Here I got my tropical fruit pancake mix. It's just regular pancake mix. Like I said, a cup of gold fruit, but make sure you drain the fruit out before you put it in there. Drain the juice out of the fruit. Do not pour the juice in there because the pancake won't cook right. Trust me. So this typically can make about 6 pancakes, maybe. It may make a little bit more than 6, but I'm only going to make 4 for right now. As I was saying before, for those of you who don't know how to cook, when you're making pancakes, the way you can tell when it's ready for them to be flipped, you'll see little bubbles at the top of the pancake, and that's how you know it's time to flip it over. Once you flip it over, you only need to cook it for about 2 more minutes, and then it should be done. That golden brown texture that you see on the pancakes, that comes from the butter. If you want to cook it without the butter, be my guest, but just make sure you're watching the pancake because it's not going to have the same effect. It's going to cook a little bit faster than it would when you have the butter. I'm going to taste my ends since the cheese is all nice and melted. Got a nice little bite here. Good, y'all. Now with the cheese, said, you can mix and match and tweak it however you want to tweak it. This is just a basic recipe to kind of get you started. And I usually, like I'm about to add some little red pepper flakes to it. But yeah, you can, make it yours. Do the way you want to do it. If you're cutting the vegetables, like the onions and the spinach, with a knife or anything like that, please be careful. I'm going to do a segment on proper cutting techniques, so that way, nobody's hurting themselves trying to dice some onions. Y'all gotta see this pancake, boy. See that? That nice golden brown pancake? That's what I'm talking about right there. That is a perfect pancake, if I do say so myself. Also, with seasonings, the reason why I don't do measurements is, like I said, everybody has their own palate, everybody has their own thing, their own taste buds, and all that good stuff. So not everybody's gonna like, salt or pepper. They might just not want to put no seasoning in at all, and that's fine. Do you? That is perfectly fine. But at least you know the basics, and you know how to, make it the way that it's supposed to be made. So I'm going to add a little bit more butter and make another pancake, and I'm going to put the rest of my batter in the refrigerator because I can make it tomorrow with my salmon omelet. Now when you refrigerate batter, make sure that it's covered. Don't just stick it in the refrigerator, okay? Make sure that it's covered, and also make sure that when you get ready to use it again, you add a little bit more milk or water to it. That way you can loosen the batter back up. So when you're cooking it, it's basically like you just made it. Or you can take your batter and you can put it in a jar with some more milk in it and put it in the refrigerator, so that when you do cook it, all you have to do is just take it out and pour it into the skillet. Now, my mother always told me not to be afraid to season your food. Okay? The first time I was learning how to really, cook and put meals together and things like that, I made a pot roast, and I thought that I put enough seasoning on there, but apparently I didn't. And she made a joke saying, oh, well, you're scared to season your food. Don't be scared to season your food. Okay? Now, there is a such thing as over-seasoning. Hey, you don't want to put too much salt or too much pepper or something like that into your food. However, when you're first doing it and you're putting the seasonings on the top, you have to realize you're stirring this into whatever you're cooking. So with that being said, make sure you put enough for the seasonings to kind of, fluctuate throughout the whole dish. Okay, I said I was going to do 4 pancakes, but I'm only going to do 2. And then I'm going to, like I said, put the rest of my batter in the refrigerator. After I wipe it off, of course. So now my pancake is almost ready. My eggs are done, and they're sitting on a low heat, so that way they're going to stay warm. And my oatmeal is done, sitting on a low heat, so they can stay warm as well. I always keep my food on low if I'm going to keep it on the oven before I put it on my plate. That's because, like I said, it can get cold easily. So now that my pancakes are done, I'm going to go ahead and plate it, plate all my food, so that way you can see what the final result is. Like I said, these are my tropical fruit pancakes. If you would like the recipe, I can give it to you as, you know, as efficiently as possible. Like I said, I don't use measurements. Just so that you can have a general idea of how to make them. These are my loaded eggs. Oh, and another thing, especially kids, make sure you wash your hands before you start cooking. Don't ever just get up in the morning and start cooking. Make sure you brush your teeth and wash your hands before you start cooking. I think this is a good recipe, especially for those that are in school and you might have like a art project or something. Or a homemade project, or you know, you gotta make something for school. Do this. It might impress some of your friends. Because when I was in school, the only thing I made was cookies. That was the only thing I knew how to make. Okay, oatmeal. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's segment. Like I said, about a good 20-minute meal. And here we go. Simple, tasty, easy. Thanks for tuning in with Chef the Dancer. See y'all tomorrow.